I just rewatched King of Marvin Gardens last night. I love that movie. That was a movie that sort of cemented you in my pantheon of great performances. That's just what seeing you get shot last night was still such a shock. That was such a nicely played scene. I really thought that was terrific.
And the dialogue, I mean, the line that sends her off to fire is, she says, well, maybe I should just shoot you. Oh, great. I can just see it now. Major headlines. Matron slays 3 in Seashore Love Nest. She was 40, I was 40, and then she blows me away. Plus, she used to be, before she was Ellen Burstyn, she was Ellen McRae, and she was a television actress, and then she was one of my acting students when I taught acting way back then.
Yeah.
And I always knew she had gifts and everything. But the performances in that movie are very good. She's wonderful in that movie, and that little girl only lived a year and a half after that.
I didn't realize that until I read your book.
Yeah.
I know, so sad.
Ashland, Oregon.
Can you talk a bit about your unique relationship with Jack Nicholson? Because that was the movie that cemented it in my mind. And I remember when that movie first came out, Jack was becoming a star. He'd just done 5 Easy Pieces. And I swear, I don't know where I read this, but I remember him saying, you know, the only competition I have in the acting world is Bruce Dern. He's the only guy I think that I can't out-act. And I thought it was such a compliment. You guys have such a tight relationship that goes back way before most of the movies that we know you two from. Can you explain what that dynamic is like?
I began really with any one-on-one relationship with Jack. I knew him in 62, 63. But in 65, when I started working for Roger Corman, that's when I met Jack. And we did The Wild Angels, and Jack wasn't around on that. And then we did another motorcycle movie that Laura was born on, that Diane was pregnant, and she was my old lady in the movie, called The Rebel Rousers. And I, because a friend of mine produced it, a manager of Diane's and mine, I got to put all my gang members, bike gang members in it. So Harry Dean's in it, and Jack is in it, and Phil Carey's in it, and different guys that went on to do real well.
Yeah.
And one day, while we were shooting the movie, running bikes up and down the beach, I looked over at the rocks, and Jack was there, writing. And I went over to him, and he was very sad and very shook up. And I said, What's going on, bud? He said, I'm going through a divorce, and it's just, he was divorcing Sandra, who was his first wife, and Jennifer, his daughter's mom. And it was real rough on him. I said, well, I'm not sure. I'm not working with someone. I may be the same place you are in a few months from now, but I don't know. We still have a marriage, and it's working. And I said, but what are you writing? He says, oh, I'm writing a movie for myself that Roger's going to direct, called The Trip. It's about a guy on an acid trip. And that's when we started really getting close, because Roger didn't let Jack play the role he wrote for himself. He let me play the role he wrote for himself.
So you stole Jack's
Peter
role.
Fonda was always going to be The Trip, because he was a Fonda. And you could put that up on the billboard and make money then. They didn't know which Fonda, but it didn't matter. Peter had a reputation then of his own. And that's when he and I started together. And I had just done Silent Running and The Cowboys, back to back. And one interspersed the other. There's a thing about it in the book when Douglas shouts out, hey, Dad, he's going to kill John Wayne in a movie. And I said, Douglas, you couldn't say that. Nobody knows that. Anyway, and Rafelson had me in, and he said, you know, what was it like, you know, killing the Duke and all that? And I said, no. He said, did you read the script? I said, yeah. He said, originally everybody thought Jack should play your part, and you should play Jack's part.
In Marvin Gardens?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Jack was the entrepreneurial guy who could put bread between your legs and make a sandwich, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I wasn't known for that or anything. And so he wanted to switch the roles. And so he did, and that's how the movie came. And Jacob Brackman, who wrote it, was one of the New York film critics and on the National Film Critic Board then. And he left the business, never did anything else, except he wrote a lot of Carole King's songs.
Really?
And he became a Sufi, and I'm not quite sure, that's some kind of religion that comes from the West Indies or something like that, and had actually witnessed the end of the movie in real life with his roommate at Harvard. Had a girlfriend that said, there were 3 of them, one of you guys has got to go.
Jeez.
And that was...
You know, you raise a fascinating issue, and I want to ask you about this because one of the things, in addition to all this wealth of experience and these people you've worked with and for, one of the striking things is there are constant career frustrations for you, and there are moments where you say, like Ryan O'Neal tells you, "I never want to work with you because you're the best." And then if I'm the best, why don't I have a career? Jack Nicholson, by comparison, has had a tremendous career. You guys are both great actors. Could you, in an alternate universe, have played the roles that made Jack popular, and could Jack have played your character roles? Can you see yourself playing each other's roles since you did in King of Marvin Gardens?
I don't look at things like that.
Okay.
The one role that I would have, liked to have a chance to play was McMurphy in Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh.
Because I felt I could have done that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a role I've done that Jack couldn't do, except possibly Tom Buchanan in The Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
Or a couple, or maybe the guy in Silent Running. I don't know.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he could have done a lot, and I don't look back. I'm a list maker. I have all kinds of all-stars behind the camera, in front of the camera, in real life, baseball, whatever it is. And in acting, there are 3 performances I've seen from my generation that I could have never done.
Okay, great.
1, Jeffrey Rush in Shine.
Ah, yeah.
I've seen David Helfgott in concert. I mean, he was David Helfgott. Roy Scheider in All That Jazz.
Really?
Fosse was a friend
Bob
of mine.
Fosse.
I knew him. He was a jittery, screwball kind of guy. Was a genius, and just changed. And you knew he was on the L to hell.
Yeah.
You know. And the third one was, oddly enough, Murray Abraham in Amadeus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, can you explain, because you mentioned that in your book, can you explain why you don't think you could have played those 3? Because I'm convinced you could have.
Well, David Helfgott is bona fide ill. And
Yeah.
you see in the movie why.
Yes.
I mean, your dad's punching your head every day of your life, you know.
Yeah.
That's number 1. I'm not into dancing or the music world at all.
Okay.
And Scheider was into that, and I think he had been a dancer. Chris Walken was a dancer. People didn't know
Yes,
that.
I know.
And so that was the second reason. And on the third one, it's just with the language and the delicateness, and yet I've seen Murray when he's not very good in movies, but in that movie, that whole movie to me is one of the. There's a line in that movie. Amadeus is one of the best movies for me. The best movie ever made was Lawrence of Arabia, and that's because every behind the camera and in front of the camera area, department in that movie is perfect. The script is good, the photography is good, the acting's good, the music's good. The guy wrote a hell of a book. The guy lived a hell of a life.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing is, a man did that.
Yeah.
He did that. That's not once upon a time.
A real guy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.